Hello, this is Carla Scarf with an introduction to the layout of Adobe Photoshop. On the very top, we have the menu, which is where many commands live. For example, under File, this is where you find your Open, Close, Save As commands. Each command has a shortcut that goes along with it. It is a good idea to begin memorizing shortcuts because professionals prefer to use shortcuts as they are faster and more effective. On the left side, we have your toolbox. Each tool, if you hover over it, will give you tips on how to use it, as well as more shortcuts. Typically, the shortcuts for tools are single letters. Again, it is a good idea to begin memorizing the shortcuts for your favorite tools. When you click on a tool, you will notice that the top section changes up here. This is called your options bar, and each tool has different options. On the right-hand side, these are your palettes. Each palette can be clicked on and dragged, or it can be closed if you no longer need it. If you ever lose your palettes or your tools, a good place to go find them is under Window. And right here, these are all the different palettes that are available. At the very bottom, these are your tools, and this is your options bar. Another thing that you should be aware of is that different professionals use different tools. For example, I'm a photographer, and the tools that I use are different than a 3D animator or a graphic designer might use. If you ever need to change the tools that are available to you, go to Window, go to Workspace, and you can browse the different setups that Photoshop has. I will get a different setting than, for example, a painter might use, or for example, a graphic and web designer will have different tools. I'm going to go ahead and go back to photography because that is my preferred setup. The most basic setup that you can use is to have your layers open. This is what I recommend for my students. So if you go to Window and you go to Layers, you will see that Layers have a shortcut of F7. Leave those open on the right-hand side. Another thing that you should be aware of is that each component in Photoshop can be docked or undocked. This means that you can grab the very top, drag it downward, and then you can move it wherever you need it to make space. To put it back, you simply hover over an area until it turns blue, and you can put it back where it came from or not. Each of these palettes on the right-hand side can be collapsed, it can be closed, or it can be brought back. Our tools also have hidden things underneath. For example, the lasso tool, if you click and hold, you will notice that there are other tools that live underneath. The way that you know that a tool is hidden is by clicking and holding when you see an arrow on the bottom right-hand corner. Whenever you open an image in Photoshop, it will be docked, meaning that it will be stuck at the very top. Right now I have two files open. In order to undock your pictures so that you can move them around, you click on the top and you drag it down. And then you can resize the size of the window in which the image appears. You can also minimize each of these windows. They will go to the bottom of your taskbar, and then you can reopen them from there. You can also maximize each window, meaning that it will take up the entire screen. If this happens, if you go to the right-hand corner, you will have the choice to minimize it or restore it back to its size or close it. To close a Photoshop window, you can click on the X or click Ctrl W. That concludes our tutorial for today.